this small school from 8,000 miles away.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
I went to Obsolescence last 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my friend told me I can text them last year.
Okay,
It
but,
should be easier.
but I mean, even OCCC is a really
Okay, chapter 2.
small. We were waiting on time with discussion.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, some learning objectives. This is what you're going to learn in this chapter. You're going to all read the chapter thoroughly. I know this because you're just also thoroughly engrossed in the subject. Oh, yeah, my husband, he likes these little things. So, we're going to go over information security and some of the aspects of it. If no threats existed, there'd be no reason to have security. So he had to get this little thing here. In this corner we have firewalls, encryption, antivirus, software, etc. And in this corner we have Dave. Business needs first. So you have to look at the business and you have to see what you need. Okay, so like Tinker would need different things than Rose State would, because Tinker is government and they have a lot of confidential, private information that they wouldn't want to get out. Whereas Rose State doesn't encrypt everything. Exactly. When we did our stalking exercise, because way back when we stalked. Now this year they're stalking Rose State. But when we did it, we had to stalk a fellow student, and you drew a name, and that's who you stalked.
That sounds like a violation of Title 10.
We all knew that we were going to be doing it before we even signed up for the class. That wasn't a big deal. But we were stalking a fellow student, and the biggest thing that everybody would do is immediately go in and get the person's student ID, because you know that if you get their birth date, you can get all their electronic
And they're all
data from
open on the Active Directory.
Exactly. So pretty much everybody was able to get academic records. But, I mean, it's crazy. IT is responsible for facilitating security. Implementation has more to do with management, so you have to have management behind you, which we went over last week. Without data, an organization loses its record of transactions. Protecting data in transmission process and at rest is critical. So, like, Tinker, when they go home and they want to work from home, they use VPN. That way it creates a secure tunnel and the data is protected while they're working from home. Enabling the safe operation of applications. Use an antivirus to make sure that you don't get corrupted. Safeguarding technology and assets in organizations. Additional security services may be needed as the organization grows. Just make sure that you don't keep the same security today that you're keeping tomorrow, because security changes, technology changes, and as your organization grows, you'll need to increase that. Devlon is here.
I gotta bring something next time I'm late. Okay, is that right now?
Bring something as in like roses?
I was thinking donuts.
I was thinking donuts.
Donuts
Yes.
would work. I can't eat them, but y'all go right ahead. So we were making some discussions before class.
Okay.
I probably need to pause this. Well, we'll discuss it at the end. Just don't let me forget. Y'all are really good about that. Threats. 61% of organizations have had malware infections. And notice this was 5 years ago. 10% indicated system penetration by an outsider. And I believe Ken said that has gone up. He actually has the report, but he didn't give it to me. We didn't have time. He's kind of, can't find it. He did give me some really good show and tell items, though. So, you can see this is outdated as well, but it kind of gives you the percentages of the different types of attack. Shows that it's all gone down. Insider abuse number looks really small. I think it actually should be higher. Categories of threats and examples. We all know, like, forces of nature, compromises to intellectual property, piracy. Software attacks, which is your homework assignment for this week. Information extortion, which we've had with, what was it? The cheating website. Because they held the.
You're talking about
pass-
Ashley
Yes.
Ransomware?
Yeah, Madison, Ashley Madison,
Ashley
because they broke in.
Oh,
got
the
pass-
cheating, I'm thinking you're talking about
Extortion.
like,
I was like, what are you talking
I'm
about?
thinking cheating like cheat codes, like
Oh.
video games. and stuff.
He understood what I meant.
We got computer games, we got academic dishonesty, and
Okay, so this is just showing the number of the population that is on the network. And yet again, this is old. This is from like 2012. North America has some of the lowest. Asia has the highest. So we're actually a minority on the network. That's the reason there's so many issues, which you'll see in a little bit.
So you're saying you can't trust.
Not saying you can't trust Asia, and I'm saying that most of the hacking usually comes from Niagara and China.
Niagara, what do you mean Niagara?
Nigeria, that's what I meant. Sorry, brain fart.
Damn Canadians.
Exactly. Compromises to intellectual property. My husband loves this movie. Paycheck. He reverse engineers. Builds a time machine, goes back in time and steals.
Oh,
It's
speaking of
called paycheck?
Yeah.
intellectual property, Ken was talking in ISM today about the software he wrote for Tinker.
Okay.
So, depending on the companies, some of them, and your role within the company, they have different policies and regulations on IP development. So, whatever you develop during the period of your contract with that company is the property of that company, whether personal time or not.
Yes.
Others, it's a hybrid depending on whether or not you use company resources.
I think
If
most
you're-
companies are going to say no, that's ours because you know we were paying you and you made it, so it's ours. I think it's going to become more rare that you see someone that says, "Oh no, you can have that." Of course, I guess in the court of law you could probably fight it. But
in the court of law, it's dependent upon whether or not you use their resources or whether it's an entirely separate project, unless you have an NDA or something explicit within your contract. My question was, I don't know for the military what their policy is. So, seeing as Ken,
if you create something and you're on military time or if you're active duty day, it's going to be theirs.
really,
But if
Because you're
if you're scripting on the weekend,
Well, yeah, like he was
It's
working
your
up
stuff.
here, and when he was working part time over here, they couldn't claim it. But I mean,
Okay.
anything he did for them, that's theirs. So
okay, yeah, that was my question, is whether or not it
Yeah.
was universal or not.
yeah, no, I think it really depends. But most companies are probably going to say, no, this is ours because you did this on our time. So, but there are two companies, the SIIA and the BSA, that work to protect confidential or intellectual property. Deviations of quality and quality of service. There's ways that you can organize your bandwidth to make it to where one thing is not taking up everything. So if you have a lot of people who are trying to stream when they're supposed to be working, you can buffer that to make it to where they have less bandwidth so that other resources can use the bandwidth. And of course, Ken on his little screenshot for Netflix.
racist.
Buffering on Netflix, ain't nobody got time for that.
Sugar brand.
Yes. I know who she is.
It's hilarious.
I didn't think it was that hilarious. Internet service providers, failures can considerably undermine the availability of information. Ken used to run an ISP. We actually have a backup in our house, a generator, so that when power goes out, the generator kicks on and we are golden. We don't have to do anything. Except for the last power failure last week, and for some reason, the generator did not work. Are you okay?
I have my articles, and I went home, changed clothes, I changed bags, and I think I left it in my work bag.
You'll just have to upload it.
I'm printing up that cool
But you lose
Okay,
that credit.
bring them next week. That's on homework, that's not on articles. I'm a lot more flexible on the articles than I am the homework. And the homework, I say that because I have, I try to grade them when they're due. And if they're late, then I have to backtrack, and then I have to refresh my memory on what the assignment was, and that's not always good. So. Outsourced web hosting. Not too many places will host their own web now. Like Rose State doesn't even do their own, they outsource it. Communications and other service providers. How many of you take your trash down to the dump to drop it off? Or how many of you just roll a little bucket to the end of the road? And
Don't even do that.
I burn it.
that's what I grew up doing. Until they actually started picking up after I graduated.
No, we take it to the, well, we take it to the curb here and we burn it in Washington State.
Yeah, see, my sister actually drives it to the dump because it's like less than, maybe 2 blocks away and they won't pick up. So she has to take it to the dump. And not only do they take it there, but they have to sort it too. Yeah, I mean, they have to have like certain things in certain bins. So, yeah, it's always fun going to the dump with my sister. I don't mean that. I don't like going. It stinks. And it wasn't there when they moved in because they moved in like 20 years ago. But they built it afterwards across the street from them. And so when they're downwind, you can smell it. So if you're like trying to enjoy a barbecue on the back patio, it's not very nice.
Not good for property value.
No. Average cost of downtime. So what happens when the computers go down? You don't work. Okay? Let's say you're trying to order something online and the website that you went to is down. What do? Do you just wait indefinitely for that website to come up before you make your order? Exactly. Unless it's Amazon. If it's Amazon, you say, okay, I'll just wait. Okay, that's what I would do because I get free shipping. I like Prime. But most people are going to go to a different place. Like if I went to Target's website and they were down, I'd just like, oh, screw it, I'll just go to Amazon. I mean,
But just turn off the
it depends. If I want to buy something local, sometimes I'll go to Target and I'll look and see what they have so that I can kind of get an idea. Okay, do I want to do this? Because clothes, my husband has forbidden me from buying any of it online because I'm really bad about sending stuff back. I mean, not sending stuff back. Like if it doesn't fit, it just sits there for forever before he finally says, okay, fine, I'll send it back, which is nice because then I don't have to take care of it. But besides one, power irregularities. So when you're in a company, you should have what? An UPS. What does an UPS do?
Uninterruptible power supply. It allows you to be able to shut your computer down.
Uninterrupted power supply.
Exactly. So we don't really use those too much at Tinker, but when I was in my old office, for computer support, we had them. Nobody else on base has them, but we had them. It was nice. I don't have one where I am now, which makes me sad. But yeah, it was kind of funny because, you know, when power would go out, everybody's computer would start beeping, and I'd shut mine down. Other people would just leave theirs running. I'm sitting here going, you're stupid. I'd shut them down. But like the school, my kid's school recently had on Carl Albert Middle School. You remember when they had the transformer that blew? Okay. Middle school, we got a call saying that the middle school might be out, but the high school was still going to school. Because the transformer blew right behind the middle school, which caused 2 of the laptops at the middle school band to go out.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, not so awesome, because then she calls me and she's like, I need some more laptops. And yeah, that didn't work out so well. But yeah, you need to have an UPS, you need to have a power strip that can trip if something blows. But not only that, but I mean, you know those go out, right? The power strips?
Mm-hmm.
They don't protect the surges forever. So each time the surge hits it, it knocks it out a little bit more. I didn't know that. Well, I had to do some research on power, you know, the power strips. And they actually make some that will tell you what the life is.
The fault indicator.
Yeah. Because I was looking for some for the band. Espionage or trespass. Access of protected information by unauthorized individuals. Shoulder surfing. Everybody know what shoulder surfing is?
Looking over somebody's shoulder.
For what?
Information.
Well, every time you put those sticky notes, have your logout information.
I know. You don't see that too much anymore, but I still see people at work that have like a Excel spreadsheet, and they'll pull it up and they'll just start scrolling through to find their password. It's like, and then they'll leave it up the entire time I'm sitting there at their desk. So technically, I could get any of their information. But if we were being technically, I could backdoor into their computers and get anything I wanted to. But I wouldn't do that. And Ken did not like our shoulder surfing picture here. So he got us this, and he said, this is how you should protect yourself from shoulder surfing. So anytime you're going to the airport, you need one of these little things. I would never use that.
The airport's probably go to the weird side of YouTube. When people start looking over my shoulder.
That's why when I'm in the airport, I use a Kindle, and I'm good.
Have you seen Johnny Long's DEF CON talk?
No.
His is no tech hacking, and it covers that. It's good.
Oh, cool. Okay, so which one would Kevin Mitnick fall into? Everybody knows who this is, right?
Criminal.
You've all done your research.
Expert espionage.
You've only got two options here, expert or unskilled.
Criminal.
Expert, definitely.
Thank you. Criminal. Psh.
If
So
he's a felon.
The expert writes his own programs to break into a machine. The unskilled hacker uses the expert's scripts to break into machines. So they don't actually know how to do it on their own. They just use somebody else's programs.
That was my article.
This would be me,
He
not
was,
this one.
I mean, yeah, he was convicted of it.
But the thing is that he didn't
he
do
didn't,
it.
He didn't do anything.
And he didn't really cause, I mean, yeah, he caused a little bit of trouble, but he didn't cause as much as, like,
He could have.
he could have. He could have royally screwed up every place that he ever touched.
He could have
He didn't.
drained banks of billions of dollars and
He was playing, and yes, he was wrong. He should not have done it.
If I bypassed the NSA's firewall just because I could,
Then you would be arrested and thrown in jail, and then they'd probably hire you to work for them. Which is basically what happened to Kevin Mitnick.
oh, he's never getting a clearance.
But, I mean, pretty much everybody who's ever done hacking, they've hired, well, okay, not everybody. It depends on who the person is and what your mentality is. But, I mean, they're good at hacking. I mean, it'd be good to have them on your side. And then the I'm a hacker, he was going to put Kevin Mitnick's picture over it, but I told him not to. And we know who this is.
Charles Manson.
that's
The blind person who does this blue
that's
boxes.
the phone guy, right?
Yes, it is.
That's
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
The
Yeah.
blue
Yes.
boxes.
The blue box.
And I was like, that's the guy that did the whistling, isn't it? And my husband's like, yes. He's like, wait
The
a second.
whistling is the blind dude, though, right?
No, he did
started
the one with the little whistle and
the Captain Crunch
Yeah.
whistle.
the
Right.
whistle.
Yep.
It's still whistling. So does everybody know what he did?
He-
I actually
So he would make, back then you used the phone, and the phone had different tones that it listened to. And so he would whistle the tones and make all sorts of long distance phone calls.
When like a field technician would be out and the phone was broken, and he wanted to open up the line, that was kind of like their master password, that tone.
Okay.
And so 2,600 hertz is the exact tone. So if you go to any payphone, or used to, and you made it 2,600 hertz, it thought you were a
You know what a
repair technician.
payphone is, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Sorry. One of my teachers at Webster, what is his name? He's a friend on Facebook. The one that did all the IP classes. Do you remember his name? Okay. In the
Only
start of
I
almost all of our
remember that.
classes, he's like, how many of you have seen a payphone in the last month? Did he ever ask you that? Oh. So I made a point of looking, and then whenever we went to Italy, I was like, I've seen one. It was in Italy. They have them all over the place in Spain and Italy and everywhere. But yeah, you don't see them around here very often. But that's the definition of a phreaker, someone who's breaking into the phone system. And then a cracker, someone who removes the protection to
Those are kind of
cracking
outdated terms.
do what? Yeah, they're old terms. These are some examples of some password attacks which you will actually get to do. And this is Kevin Mitnick again, social engineering.
He was a real creative social engineer. Boy.
Yes,
He
oh
was-
my
he was-
gosh.
he was-
See, I just find it impressive that he can do that, because I can't do that.
He
So I
was
like it.
very clever.
This is examples of passwords. So like if your password is 8 characters, and this is case insensitive passwords using a standard alphabet, no numbers or special characters, it would take 1.9 seconds to crack an 8-digit password. Whereas if you did one with all of the characters, an 8-digit password would take 5.2 hours. So the longer your password, the better. That's why at Tinker, for our admin credentials, they have to be 12 characters, and they have to be a combination of all of those. And you can't use the same one. I still cannot use the very first password I used when I got hired there. I still can't reuse it.
I got bad about mine. I'd end it with 1-1, and then it'd be 1-2. And the same thing
You
with
can't, the
1-3.
first 3 characters can't be the same, I think is what it is in ours.
Lame.
Yeah, yeah.
It started out with
1, 2, 3.
It's crazy. Forces of nature. tornadoes. I tried to get Ken to find the one. I don't know how many of y'all were here back in, what, 99 when we had that big tornado that went through Del City. Okay, they had just built the new Rose State building out there by I-40, a really pretty one with the glass and everything. And the tornado came through, there was actually a car on top of the building. So I was trying to get him to find a picture of the car on top of the building. Couldn't find it though. But you need to be prepared, have a plan in place in case of a tornado. Make sure that you can recover your data or you can get business back up and running. Human error or failure. I like this one. That one I picked. Inexperience, improper training, incorrect assumptions, being an ID 10T. Ken put idiot, and I told him to change it because, you know.
Miss Scott says that all the time.
Oh, really? ID 10T or an idiot?
ID 10T.
Oh, okay. I learned that my first year at Rose. Some, you know, our network teacher said, and if they're being this, you can call them an ID 10T because they won't know.
Layer A failure.
I think it, but I don't actually say it because I have a lot of them. And at least most of them, they know that they don't know anything about computers. It doesn't matter what you train them, they're not going to pick it up. My mom's the same way. The new one that came in today, she's like, I know how to turn it on, I know how to turn it off. Don't expect much in between. That's like, okay. But I already knew that because she worked for me at Jackson Hewitt a long time ago, and she didn't. She called all the time. And then some examples. Biggest threat, acts of human error or failure. Get a lot of those people. Had an error today at work. It was a stupid error. It wasn't something that was going to ruin everything or break something down. Oh, you like the clip on this one? But she was trying to print. She's like, Virginia, the printer's broken. It won't print. I walked over to the printer. Okay, here's some paper. Put it in the drawer. Okay, it prints. Seriously, that was the entire issue. People don't. They don't think to look. Especially if they have an IT person sitting right there. They don't do it. You know, any little issue. My monitor won't come on. You press the button and it comes on. It's literally. But I just give them a hard time and move on. Human error or failure. Employee mistakes can easily lead to revelation of classified data, entry of erroneous data, accidental data deletion or modification, using the data as is not meant to be used, like going home and sending work emails. You like my clip? Sorry, I thought it was funny. Social engineering, again, Kevin Mitnick. People are the weakest link. You can have the best technology, firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and biometric devices, and somebody can call on an unsuspecting employee. That's all she wrote. They got everything. It's true. Okay, so here's the Nigeria thing, you know, Niagara. So, my husband and I do mystery shopping. And these people called my husband and they're like, we need you to do this mystery shop for us. We will send you a check. You just have to cash it, wire the money to us, and then just write us a report telling us about the service. Okay? Now, because if they're going to do a mystery shop, it's going to be online. You're going to have to take this test. You're going to have to apply and all this stuff. I mean, it's not something where they're going to call you on the phone and say, hey, yeah, we want you to do this. No, you have to go online and apply. So, he played along because he wanted to see how far he could take it. And they sent him checks. So he's got 3 checks here. Oops, he doesn't want me losing them, so I'm going to throw it on the floor. One of them is for $1,650.
I'll take that.
The other one's for $1,650. And the next one's for $3,250. So what they do is you cash the check, you wire the money to them, and then a week later the money is going to be taken out. They're going to say, oh, it's not a real check. They canceled the check. They'll come up with something. And so Ken was trying to find a way that he could play along and get the bank to play along, but they said no. So he just uses it as examples now. But
I hate this.
the reason he got 3 is because he kept leading them along and saying, oh no, I never received anything. They're like, well, we showed that it was delivered. He's like, no, I never received anything. So they sent him another one. If it was a legitimate company, would they really send him another one? No, they'd be finding out what happened to the first check.
What?
So,
No.
yes. And he sent me a screenshot of it.
That authorized pixelated signature.
I mean, if it was a real
Oh,
company, though,
that's
they would
right.
put a stop order on that check number send a replacement.
I think they would be tracking it to find out where the check went. They'd be contacting FedEx saying, hey, where'd this check go? And they'd find out who's, where it went, what address it was delivered to, and they'd be tracking it. I don't think that they would just say, oh yeah, sure, we'll send you another one. No. Information extortion. Attacker steals information from a computer, demands compensation for its return. What happened with Ashley Madison? They stole all the passwords, they said you're gonna pay us or we're gonna leak all this information. They didn't get paid, they leaked all the information.
Did they? Did they demand money on Ashley Madison?
I heard that they demanded money on Ashley Madison.
No, I thought the demand was for them to shut down, I thought. Was it for a financial value?
Either way, it's still extortion.
An extortion was made, but I don't know if it was for money.
But normally you see it in credit card theft, but you can see it in all sorts of different things. Sabotage or vandalism. Threats can range from petty vandalism, website defacing, threat of a hacktivist or cyber activist operations. You can sign up to be a cyber activist. Cyber attacks. Malicious software is used to overwhelm the processing capabilities. Software attacks can occur when an individual designs and deploys software to attack a system. And there's going to be a new reverse engineering course in the fall of 2016. I know, I saw that and I was like, are you serious?
Oh.
That would be awesome.
I pay for that.
Types of software attacks. Viruses, worms, Trojan horses. You're going to get to do all sorts of fun stuff with those this week. Here's some examples of the viruses or malware. The type that it is, the year that it was done, and the estimated number of systems that it affected.
10% of the internet?
I still
Good
remember
Lord.
that. I remember that so clearly.
That's
Because that
The I love you
dominated the
virus?
cycle.
And a Trojan horse. Does anybody know what a Trojan horse is?
Mhm.
What's a Trojan horse?
It's an allusion to the story of the Iliad, where
But it's where they hide like
an
a
executable file that is a
It's
virus.
In a legitimate
embedded
file.
In something else.
yeah. Software attacks, polymorphic virus that keeps changing and changing and changing to avoid avoid being detected. Virus and worm hoaxes, non-existent malware that employees waste time spreading awareness about. Get that a lot. Backdoor, gaining access to a system or network using known or previously unknown, newly discovered access mechanism.
Wasn't there something that went around a couple years ago that did nothing but make your default search engine Bing?
No, a lot of things do that. It's very common still. Most adware will change it.
Because all it's
No,
really
it's-
doing is going in and changing your immunity.
Right, but
Yeah,
it was embedded in something
I think
that
so.
wasn't.
I think so, but I don't remember what. Types of attacks, denial of service. And Ken put a nice little script up there because he didn't like the other. I think there's another one further down. He tried to cover it and it wouldn't work. So the targets in a denial of service attack. An attacker sends a large number of connection requests to one device and effectively shuts it down to where it can't really do anything. Distributed denial of service is basically where they take over a whole lot of machines, or they take over some machines, and then those machines send it out to everybody.
Not necessarily.
Well, they could use machines that aren't taken over, but a lot of times you'll see it as they've affected somebody else's machine with some sort of program.
Yeah.
Types of attacks: mail bombing, spam, packet sniffer, spoofing. We'll cover all of those in some of the later classes. IP spoofing. There's two different applications that you can use. HPP3 and Kane that will assist you in spoofing an IP address that you can pretend to be someone that you're not. And I think that you use that in forensics. Ken's like, oh yeah, we use that in forensics. It's like, yeah, you didn't use it in forensics when I was there.
What do you use in addition to Kane?
HPing 3. Why it says HPing is beyond me because it's actually HPing 3. Farming, man-in-the-middle attacks. You can use Kane for man-in-the-middle attacks too. There's a picture of man in the middle. He's just capturing the data so that he can hijack. Technical hardware failures and or errors. They occur when a manufacturer issues with a known flaw. I thought he put Windows on there. Okay, well he was saying Windows is the big one on that I think all of them do with a known flaw, and they just issue patches. That's hardware failures though.
The
That's
other
why.
one, for software that's probably just not in this textbook yet, but is like the biggest name in the industry now, is Advanced Persistent Threat, which is kind of just a new name for polymorphic virus, but it's a more sophisticated, long-term embedded access.
Yeah, it's amazing how out of date some of the stuff is for this book, considering the fact that it's a fairly new book. I mean, we still have 2012 instead of 2014 at least. You'd think that they'd be better. But software is sold before all bugs can be detected and resolved. I mean, if they didn't, then we'd probably never get the software. But then they just continue pushing updates. People at work are constantly complaining, why are we getting updates every night? It's because they have to, security reasons. Deadly sins. You'll actually get to cover some of these in forensics. Cross-site scripting, command injection, buffer overruns, format string problems. I don't remember which classes we covered all those, but several of the classes you'll get to play with them. And I think it was our Linux class we actually got to practice some of that.
Not pen testing?
Pen testing, we broke into some machines and we did some stuff too, but I think it was Linux that we did a lot of it. We had a teacher that he liked to do a lot of the hacking stuff, so he would lecture really quick and then let us play.
That's fine.
And I can't remember the website. It was really cool. Technological obsolescence. So, and you know what this is?
There's a typewriter
With an iPad on
with an
top.
iPad on top of it.
Could you imagine using a typewriter nowadays? Has anybody used a typewriter?
Oh,
other
yeah.
than me? Okay, I'm just making sure. My kids have never used one. I'd like them to, but I let my mom get rid of them all. So, antiquated, outdated infrastructure can lead to unreliable, untrustworthy systems, and you need to have them updated. Illegal taking of another's physical, electronic, or intellectual property is theft. You all know what theft is. Secure software development. We covered that in the software development life cycle. That's why it's very important to follow all of the steps to make sure that everything is secure. I think we covered this last week as well with software assurance in the common body of knowledge. They work to make sure that everything is uniform and works properly. Software design principles. KISS. Ken added that in there. He says keep it all
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, thank you. I have trouble getting that out, but it's really keep it small and simple. Access decisions of permission, not exclusion. Minimize mechanisms common to multiple users. Human interface must be easy to use so users can routinely automatically use protection mechanisms. And that was it.
Really?
So,